Hi, and welcome to this Quick Dynamics Fast Focus video. So today I'm going to focus on one of the new hot topics. The last 18 months you've probably heard never-ending information about AI and how it's going to improve everyone's lives and make everything quicker and slicker for you. So I thought I'd do a quick video to show the latest functionality that's been released in Business Central. The first thing to be aware of is that not all of this Copilot functionality is available in the UK. It's due to be released at some point over the coming months, but I've looked at the latest 24.1 release and not all of it is currently showing. So what I've done is I've fired up a sandbox in a US environment to enable me to show you all the features. So the first thing we do is we can have a look and see what features are available in Copilot. In the search box, you can search for Copilot up there, and there's a Copilot and AI capabilities page. And in this page, you see a list of all the features and functions that are available within your version of Business Central. Now, the biggest one here is the one at the top there, the chat, and that's what's not available yet in the UK. The rest of the items on the list are available and can be used in UK environments which are on the latest version, number 24. So what I'll do today is I'm going to go through each of these different points and show you a little bit about the features and functions, how they work, and then hopefully when it gets released in the UK, you can jump straight in and start using this to benefit you and your working life. Right, let's have a look. We're going to start with the first piece of Copilot functionality that's in general availability, which is on the item card. So if we go to the item list and select the top item, the Athens desk, you'll see on the right-hand side there is this marketing text box. This has been there for about the last year and a half, I think. And there's an option to draft with Copilot. When we go in there, it's had a bit of a spruce and tidy up this page by the looks of it. It will generate us some marketing text based on the attributes that we've got assigned to this particular item. So here we've got a big description along with like a tagline at the top. And you can change what you want to request from the system. So it might be, for instance, we only want a brief there and we want to focus on the elegance of the product. We can then regenerate it. It goes away, it has another thing, and then it comes up with the new description. There's also some formatting now available down here. So it might be we want to make some of these parts of the description in bold. And if you're happy with it, you can keep it or you can regenerate it or change the settings. Once you've generated it, it's then stored in the marketing text box here. And if you're using the Shopify connector, for instance, or another website connector, you can use this marketing text to populate information in your Shopify website. Let's move on and look at the next piece of functionality. This next feature is the Analyse Lists feature with Copilot. So if you go to a list page in Business Central, you'll see now that you've got this little Copilot button up here. If you click on the drop down, you can get it to show in page. From what I can tell, all this does is makes it appear there and it hovers over the list, which to my mind's in the way, so I'd rather not tick that. So click Analyse List, and then you can tell it how you want to analyze this list. You think this will be fairly simple. There are some prompts here. It gives you some ideas about how you should be structuring these words. So we can group by, show, pivot on, etc. We can filter and sort, and we can adjust the layouts as well. So it looks like all the functionality is there that you would require. So let's try a few prompts and see how they go. Let's start. So these are the items. Maybe we want to see the quantity of our items in each location. So we're going to say show items by location and generate that. It didn't appear to like that. That's a shame. So let's say show item quantity by location. So now it appears we've got something. And what have we got? We've got a list of the quantities down the left-hand side. Okay, that wasn't quite what I was after. Shall we try it again? Let's click on this. We're going to say show item quantity. Let's use the pivot on. So pivot on location. Generate that. So now we've got this return saying the specified field couldn't be found in the items page. So at this point, I'm starting to get a bit frustrated. Now I've got a fair idea about what's going wrong here and that I'm probably using the wrong page. However, if I was a user coming in to this page, this is probably where I'd expect to go to find this information. Now, with my experience, I know that probably what I want to do is go off to the item ledger entries page and try and pivot based on that. So let's go and give that a go instead. So go to item ledger entries, and then Then we'll try and do something similar in the item ledger entries page. We click on the Analyse List option up here, and we're going to ask it to show us the item quantity filtered by sales, and maybe we want to see that by month. So let's say pivot on month. So it should give us our item sales by month, and let's click generate. And here we can see it actually seems to have worked quite well this time. So we've got the item numbers down the left-hand side. We pivoted it by month across there. Obviously, you might want to include a year possibly as well. And if we look at the analysis filters, we can see that on the entry type, it has filtered on sales as well. So that was quite a successful experiment, and that's done what we wanted to. One slight gripe I've got though is down here, this box here appears and overlays the scroll bar, so I can't easily scroll across to see the full page of data before I choose whether to accept it or not. I'll say keep it, and there you can see that we've got all the various months scrolling across the screen. So I think all in all, it's a relatively successful piece of functionality, but I think it needs a little bit of tidying up to ensure that a new user coming to it without a vast knowledge of Business Central knows better where to go and find the information. And perhaps one of the features we'll look at a bit later on might help with that. The next feature we're going to look at is the bank account reconciliation, which is using the new Copilot functionality. We go to the reconciliations, and you can see straight away there's a nice little hovering button there for the Copilot reconciliation. If we click on that, it will default to the bank account that I've got set up with an import format, which is only one in this system. But if I had others, I could then select the bank account that I'm going to use. We then import our transaction file. So I've got one which I've prepared earlier. So it reads that, it's picked the statement date, the last statement number as you'd expect, and I can then generate my bank account reconciliation. And here we can see that the standard matching functionality has matched one of the lines. Copilot has then matched an additional 2 lines. And then that's obviously going to leave me another 2 lines I need to reconcile as well. So if we're happy with this, which we are at the moment, we can see that this is matched successfully. And this line here is matched to 2 entries on the other side. So we're going to keep that. And then it will take me into the bank account reconciliation. So over here on the right-hand side, you can see that we've got the bank account ledger entries, which have successfully tallied up the top 2 there. And this bottom line here on my statement line that I've imported has been matched using Copilot to these 2 entries over here. So that's a nice little feature. It's managed to match up a one-to-many scenario. We then got 2 additional entries that are coming from the bank account statement for bank fees and for interest, which aren't appearing yet in my bank account ledger entries because obviously they've just appeared on this statement. So we've got the post difference to GL account up here. So this is a new Copilot functionality. So rather than transferring to a general journal, we can use Copilot to post this difference. So to use this functionality, we need to select the lines that we want to post to the GL account. So we'll click on this here, hold down Control, select the second line, and then we're going to post the difference to the GL account. So Copilot is now looking to see what it can match those up to on my chart of accounts. So it's come up here, and currently it has found one match on the bank fees here. So it's going to post it to account 67100, which is the banking fees account. So that's a good match. I'm happy with that. I can also save that so that in future it will know to match that text to that particular GL account. So I'm happy with that. What it's not matched though is the interest account here. So this interest account, we need to go through and match to a GL account manually this time. So we're going to choose the GL account here. We use the search to find an interest account. Now I think this is probably why it's struggled to match it, because there's 5 different accounts that use interest in the title. We're going to post this to our interest income account here and say okay to that. So that's now matched to that account. And I can then save that so in future it knows to match the word interest from my bank statement to that particular GL account. If we're happy with that, we will then say keep it. So this is then post those 2 transactions to the GL accounts. So they've now appeared on my bank account ledger entries over here, and it's automatically matched the 2 lines. So that's nice. So it's saved me that hassle of transferring to a general journal to then match it all off. There is one slight issue I found with this, in that it's getting posted in the background and not via a general journal. So if you want to undo that, if you post it incorrectly, there's no way to go through to the registers and then reverse the register or to reverse the transaction. You have to do it all manually. So that's a little bit of an issue that maybe could be addressed by Microsoft in a future version. So on the whole, I really like that feature. I think they've made a step forward to try and improve the usability of the bank account reconciliations, which have always been a little bit clunky to use. And I think that's a way that's actually going to speed up people using the system a lot more in the future. So that's a big thumbs up to Microsoft for that one, but with a few little tweaks that could be made to improve it more in the future. This next piece of Copilot functionality is about creating sales lines quickly in your system. This is not just for sales orders, but also for quotes and invoices as well. We're here in the sales order screen, and I've created a sales order for the Datum Corporation with no lines on it. We're going to use this new Copilot Suggest Sales Line functionality. Now, I'm really excited about this because I think since the move to the web client, the line entry in Business Central hasn't been quite as good and efficient as it used to be in the old Windows client. So I think it could be a good way of trying to improve that efficiency and getting data into the system a lot quicker. So when you click on the line, you get this suggest sales line box pops up, and there are obviously a number of prompts down here you can look at. So you can copy lines from a particular order number, a particular invoice number, or from the last invoice. From a bit of experimentation, it appears that it looks at the date. So when you say last, it looks at the dates rather than the last numerical number. So again, worth noting. And then you can also add lines in a number of different ways. The way that I'm going to use will be primarily focused on the descriptions of the items rather than the item numbers. I'm going to look at some of the items that we've got from the Contoso demo set data, which is based around coffees and coffee pots and things like that. So I've had a customer ring me up and has broken a couple of their carafes from their coffee pots. They'd like to order some new carafes. So I'm going to say 2 carafes and click generate. And then you can see here that it's come back, it's found the correct item, the glass carafes, and filled in the quantity as well for me. Brilliant. So I can insert that into my sales order. Of course, if you're only entering one line, that's not a particularly efficient way of doing it. But if you're entering multiple lines in one go, then it could be a little bit quicker. So if we've got someone that's rung up and has asked us for 5 Hawaiian decaf bags of coffee and 10 Costa Rican roasted, I'll enter that into there. And then I ask it to generate the list. If there's a large list of items that someone's presenting to you over the phone, then it might be a quicker way of doing it potentially. And we can see there it's now come back and it's correctly identified the items. So I've got 5 of the whole decaf beans from Hawaii and 10 bags of the whole roasted beans from Costa Rica. That was obviously 2 lines, but you can add as many lines in there as you want. So we'll insert those lines onto the order. A couple of things to note about this. The first thing is I found this very slow. So I am in a sandbox, that could be part of the problem, but I found that when I'm searching for lines, it might take 30, 40, 50 seconds just to bring back the recognition for a couple of lines of detail. I've also found it somewhat inconsistent. So I can type in exactly the same prompts and sometimes it will work and bring back all the lines successfully. Other times it will only bring back one line. Sometimes it will error and not bring any back at all. However, it is in preview. So I think this has obviously been released to try and refine the model in the background. And I have no doubt that once it goes to general release, it will be vastly improved. But it's a nice starting point. It just needs a little bit of tidying up. I think also there'll be more prompts brought in the future so you can actually drop files into it as well. I've seen some things online suggest that sort of files with details in can be dropped into the box and it will then interpret it and create the lines on it. So nice start of a 10, but it's got a long way to go yet. This last piece of Copilot functionality, I think, is the piece that everyone's been really waiting for. This is the Copilot Chat, which is built into Business Central. Not currently in preview in the UK, which is why I'm using the USA database here. So in here, once you click on the Copilot action up in the top, you then get some prompts and guides about how to do things. Fundamentally, this allows you to talk to your Business Central environment and to get answers both on the data within your system, but also on how to use the system. In one of the earlier sections, I was trying to analyze my item sales using the analysis views, and it wasn't giving me the right answers. Now, I was using the wrong pages for that. So I thought, would the Copilot know where I should go to find the right information? So I'm going to ask it a question, which will be, which page should I use in analysis mode to look at item sales? And let's see what it gives me. So it's come back here with 3 different suggestions. I can find information on item sales analysis in Business Central's analysis mode using the following links. I'll take the top one, ad hoc analysis of inventory data. So if we look at this is quite interesting. So straight away, it's telling me that I can use the analysis mode feature, and it recommends using the item ledger entry page, which is the page I ended up on. So that's good. It's not massively different to doing it in Google, but I'm doing it within Business Central. So that's a nice feature there to enable me to find out easier ways of doing things in Business Central. Let's have a look at some of the other options. Let's ask something simple then. How do we set up dimensions? So how do we set up dimensions in BC? And this is giving me the response. Interestingly, I use the BC, the shortened version of it. It knows what I'm talking about, obviously. I'd hope so. And it's given me some ideas there about how I can go through and start setting it up. It gives me references so I can click through, which take me to the Microsoft Learn pages. So again, quite useful. How does it deal, though, if I'm trying to actually analyze data using this Copilot preview? Let's ask it some questions, such as, let's find out what the largest invoice is from a Darton corporation. So here it's come back now, telling me the largest invoice from a Darton is sales invoice 102199 with the amount of $11,375. I wonder how accurate that is. Let's go and see how accurate that is. So if we go to our sales invoices, we can see here we've got two for a datum. The top one is the large one of those two. It's aimed for 10731. If we click on it and open it up, we can then see that there's also some sales tax on there, which means the total value is 11,375.50, which is what was returned. What if I asked for it, for instance, to give me the amount excluding VAT? And there you can see it's returned us the value, which that amount there, 10731, matches the invoice they've got in front of us. Let's have a look at one or two other things we can do with Copilot. For this final part of looking at the Copilot chat, I want to have a look at how it analyzes some of the data within my Business Central system. One of the big issues with generative AI is that it's not great with actual facts and figures and numbers and how it interprets them. So I thought if I ask it a few questions to do with customers and invoices and see what it gives me, we can then look to see how accurate the answers are. So the first question I've asked it is, who is my best customer? And it said the best customer is the School of Fine Arts with a balance of $60,764. That initially worried me a little bit. Why is it looking at the balance? Because best customer I would probably consider to be those with the most sales or the most profit, for instance. The question is deliberately vague, so I was intrigued to see how it interpreted it. However, there is a reference down here, and the reference tells you how it's got to its answer. So the way it's got to its answer is by looking at the customers, which is a good start. It's retrieved the customer with the highest total net amount of sales. No filtering was applied, sorted, ... So I don't quite know what happened after that. Unfortunately, you can't seem to expand that any further, which again would be nice if you could see more information. But if it's based on the net amount of sales, I'm happy with that as an answer. That's a reasonable answer. So I'll accept that one. That's a tick from me. The next question I asked it was, who is my worst paying customer? The worst paying customer is associated with that particular invoice with the remaining amount of $19,944. And I can view more details on the customer ledger entries. So if you look at the reference there, it's telling me that it's retrieved the customer with the highest remaining amount to be paid. But it seems to be looking at one particular customer ledger entry rather than them overall. So maybe I'll give it that one just about, but I'm not entirely convinced. I'd prefer to have looked at the actual customer balance and give me an overall feedback based on the total customer balance owed. Who is my most profitable customer? A decent question to ask, and it's not unreasonable to ask that of a system which has got all your financial information in it. So your most profitable customer is associated with invoice 103191. You can view more details on the detailed customer ledger entries. So I thought this was interesting. It's looking at the detailed customer ledger entries to give you my answer. And then when you look at the reference, it says it's retrieved the customer with the highest profit by sorting the records based on the amount field. So again, it's looking at the amount field rather than the actual totals at a customer level. And it doesn't appear to be looking at the profit level, which is slightly worrying. So I don't think that's accurate. And if it is accurate, it's not presenting it in a way that I like at all. The final question here is, how much profit did I make on the invoice that references there? So the profit made on invoice 103191 is $1,221. you can view more details on the posted sales invoice. And then here the reference tells me that on that invoice, it's got this amount and the amount including tax. Let's have a look at the sales invoice and see what it's showing me there. So this is the sales invoice. I'm going to have a look at the statistics for it. And down here, I've got an original profit of 4,478 and an adjusted profit of 4,478, which bear no relation at all to this number over here that it's giving me, which is a bit strange. However, if you look, you can then see that it appears there. So what it's actually done is it's taken the sales tax breakdown for this invoice and it's presented that back to me as being the profit. So it appears that it's got a bit of a misunderstanding here about what the different numbers mean within the system. So that's a big cross from me there. So I think overall, my opinion on the Copilot is it's great if you want to ask advice for how to do things, or if you want it to tell you how to set something up. It will point you in the right directions. It will point you towards the right learn documents. It might summarize it and present it to you in a nice way on the screen for you. However, personally, I wouldn't use it in any way currently to analyze data within my system. It is in preview and it says there at the top that it's Copilot preview. So hopefully this will be improved and become more accurate, and there'll be more refinement carried out in the background so it understands better what it's looking at in your system. But for now, I'd probably hold off using it for analysis purposes. Thanks for watching this video. We hope you found it of use. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel and like the video. You can also follow us on other forms of social media with our Quick Dynamics tag, and you can visit our website at quickdynamics.co.uk. Thanks again.